I'm going to start explaining today's base sequence. So today's base sequence is all about opening your hips, getting your spine moving, getting it rotating a little bit, getting your hips opening up a lot. So the very first pose is front warrior with your back foot up on the wall. So in order to do this pose properly, I always like to start left foot forward when we do any warrior poses. And I put that leg out about a yard probably from the wall. My right leg, shin is parallel to the wall, and then what you're going to do is come forward onto this knee, and you can either put the top of your foot on the wall, which is slightly uncomfortable, or put the ball of your foot on the wall like this. Either case is fine, it's a comfort thing. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put your hands on your knee here, and this is like the baseline version of it. Most people do this pose, they'll just sit in it and get a stretch in the front of your hip. That's not what our intent is, it's to open that. So in order to get the hip to relax and open, we got to engage the extensors, the hamstrings, the glutes, okay? So in order for that to happen, first off, we want to get the hips as square as possible. Then with this front leg, I want to pull with this front heel so the knee tracks towards and over the big and second toe. From there, note that your hamstring is engaged. On the backside leg, aside from keeping my hips square, I'm going to work my tailbone down and work the hips forward so that you feel the hamstring on the back leg. Once you got the hips working forward, both legs are working, then if you can lift the chest just a little bit, great. You're going to feel a little bit of tension here in your front of your leg, but try to keep extension with the back of your leg. If you want to put your hands here, cool. This is all first level stuff. The easiest version is here. Little harder is here. More intensive is here. And I got the same things. I'm pulling with my front heel. I'm extending both hips forward. And then from here, I'm extending from my down knee through my fingertips overhead. Eventually even trying to extend back towards the wall with my hands. When you're finished, drop this back foot in. And then you can stand up out of the pose, and then we're going to switch sides. So let's everybody start practicing this pose. At your level, left leg is forward, right foot is up on the wall. Come forward onto your front knee, and then just sit there with your hands or your forearms on your front leg. Get that right foot back up on the wall. And then just take note, are your hips even? Most likely your left hip feels high. So work that left hip down. And this is assisted by almost pushing your right hip right. Okay? So try to square the hips as best you can. Next, we're going to actively pull the hips forward by pulling with your front heel, driving that back knee down into the ground, working the tailbone down, and just being conscious, are my hamstrings engaged at all? Okay, now from there, your hand positioning can help this position. You can just relax your hands on your knees or your forearms. You can work your arms to straight, start to lift the chest, as long as we don't feel collapse in the lower back, guys. So we want to drive the hips forward. We want the tailbone working down, the chest is lifted, but the back isn't collapsed. So you should feel your hamstrings really engaged intensely here. Think tailbone down, try to move the hips forward another inch or so by pulling with the front heel, extending the hips a little bit more. See what Jessie is doing here? She's using a block working against her inner thigh, and that helps to drop that hip down by adducting your adductors, basically. Bring them more towards the center line of the body. So you can take your yoga block and push it. This is a little more high level. Push it against your inner thigh here, and you'll feel your hip drop as your adductors work towards the center line of the body. And slowly come out of the pose, and let's switch sides.
John,
Yes.
if you're feeling a big stretch in the quad in front,
Yeah. Oh,
push
well.
that knee down and back.
Yeah, if you feel a big time stretch in the front of your thigh, that's normal when you're in this pose, but it's not. Our main goal is to relax that. So if you feel it, it's sort of like doing this. Okay, this typical old school stretch. You feel your thigh working a lot, right? So in order to turn that thigh off a little bit, extend the hips a little bit. You'll feel your hamstrings kick in. That's going to relax your thighs a little bit. You'll still feel a stretch, but now we're actively doing the alignment instead of reacting to it by the muscles tightening up. So you want to always be active in these poses. So pull with that front heel, drive that knee over your toes if you can. Yep, feel that the hips are square. Are both hamstrings engaged? Can you work your hips forward another inch or two? Now if you got that, maybe you straighten your arms out a little bit, maybe you use that yoga block against your inner thigh to help you work your hips towards center. Drive that back knee to the ground and extend through the crown of your head. So you're constantly going through. Am I pulling with my front heel? Am I driving my hips forward? Am I working my tailbone down? Can I work my hips forward another 2 to 3 inches? Okay, slowly come out of the pose, drop that back foot and come out of the pose. So that's our first pose, front warrior with the back foot up. Everybody else on the floor now, and we're going to go to our second pose, which is Sphinx pose. So it's right here. Everybody come on out on the floor and lay down. Okay, so from here, we want our legs together or feet against a yoga block. Either one is fine. Feet against a yoga block is a nice way to get feedback, to keep your legs in a square position. If you don't have a yoga block, just put your feet together. Work your ankles towards one another. Then your feet, your knees, and your thighs are going to stay down on the floor. Then your hands are spread. You got to work that index knuckle down. Got to push the wrist down. And then we've got to push from fingertips all the way to elbows into the floor. And as you're doing that, that is what helps to assist in extending through the crown of your head, the back of your neck. From here, though, we don't just want to lift there. We want to pull the shoulders back. And you think, slide your elbows towards your hips as you're doing this. So we're working down and we're working back. And as you do that, you're sort of pulling your chest in front of your biceps. Now, if you can do that and work the elbows in just a millimeter and keep them working in, that helps to set the shoulders even more as you're extending. And these movements here really help to open up and give you more freedom in your shoulders. Open the hands up. Spread the hands as much as you can. Work the index knuckle down. Pull the elbows back towards your hips. Let the chest come forward. Get those hands flat. Pull the shoulders back. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Create width at the shoulders. Feet, knees, thighs are down. Hands are spread like you're palming a basketball. And then you pull the shoulder blades back as you're sliding your elbows back. You can also think lift through the crown of the head, the back of the neck, almost like pressing the hands into the floor to the point that the elbows almost lift. This is Sphinx pose, okay? Relax. The next pose that we're going to do is plow. Now this one we have a couple different levels to do. I'm going to show you the baseline first. So the easiest version, you're going to get your butt pretty close to the wall. And then you're going to put your elbows here, or you can put your elbows here. And then you're going to slide your feet down the wall just a bit. And then you're going to lift up into, driving the heels into the wall. Now from here, you can see my shin is about parallel to the floor. My objective is to get shoulders, hips, and knees lined up. Now if you have tight hips, you'll see this. If you can get your hips forward to the point where it's a straight line, now you got your hips in the right position. This movement is assisted by your hands, lifting your hips forward and creating width at your shoulders. If your shoulders are tight, your elbows are going to flail out, and you can't lift your hips. And if your hips are tight, everything's going to sit more like this. So number one goal is get the elbows underneath support your hips, lift your hips forward while creating width at your shoulders, okay? So that's step one. Everybody, let's just try this pose right now, the first step. You can use your yoga mat to put your shoulders on and your heads off the mat. And this gives you a little less stress on your neck. So the first part of this plow pose, get your butt close to the wall. Put your feet up on the wall. Bend your knees a little bit. Your shoulders, if you have a mat, your shoulders should be on the edge of the mat, your head is off the mat. Then from there, your feet and knees should be about yoga block width apart. Or if you want to put them together, that's fine. From here, lift your hips up as high as you can. Shins parallel to the floor is a nice spot. You support your hips with your hands. Now, pull your hands in like it's a bicep curl almost to help assist in lifting the hips up. You'll feel your biceps work a lot if you guys do this well. Now look at your line from your shoulders through your hips to your knees. Is it a straight line? If it is, great. Keep driving the shins forward. You should feel the backside of your legs engaged a lot here. You should feel your shoulders working in extension, and you should feel your biceps definitely supporting your hips. Okay, so everybody relax and come out of the pose. So that's your first step. Your next step, you're going to be back to the wall. You're going to do a similar setup, but how I like to measure this is your hands should just barely be able to touch the wall. Okay? You're going to do a similar setup. I'm going to set it up like this, and then to start it, it's easier if you have your hands overhead and you pull your feet back like this. Now once you're here, bring your hands under your hips just like you just did in the first part of this. Now I'm working my toes to the wall, then I'm working heels to the wall. From here, guys, you want to lift the hips by working the hands up the back, working the heels down. I want to straighten the legs, I want the shoulders wide, and I want to work my heels into the wall, and as I'm lifting my hips up towards the sky. So this is your second level. The next level, keep working the feet down the wall until you have your toes on the floor. But you're still working hips up, working the heels into the wall, and straightening your legs. Okay, now let's try this version. The first step is the exact same motion for your hands as you're doing in this step. Hands are overhead to get your legs lifted first to start it out. Hands support your lower back to lift the hips now. So once you get your feet overhead, get your hands under your hips on your lower back, and they literally, by really engaging your biceps, you help lift the hips up, and that'll help you extend your heels into the wall, and then you can slowly work the feet down the wall. But we got to get heels into the wall first, guys. Once your toes are on the wall, work your heels into the wall, then work to straighten your legs out. Okay, so slowly come out of that pose, guys. So that is plow pose. If you're at a higher level and you can put your feet on the wall, then your objective is work your feet further away as you're working your hips up higher. Okay, then the higher level of that is, instead of supporting your hips, you interlace your hands. You can push them this way, you can have them this way, and you work your hands down into the floor. Can anybody do that? Carly, you want to show us that? So come out from the wall just a bit. So the same setup, hands, you take the hands overhead and bring the legs up and over. Now she could take her hips up high, but you can take your hands away, and then what we want is you lift here, the hips up as she works her heels away, and then works the hands away and down into the floor. So that's plow pose. That's a high level of plow pose. Okay, and while you're doing that, continue to work the shoulders away from the ears. Okay, guys, so that is your variations of plow pose. The last pose is half moon. So how we're going to do half moon, I'm going to demonstrate that one time. We've done this many times in class. It's an awesome pose to open up the hips, set the shoulders. Your foot's going to be about 4 to 5 inches from the wall. I like to weight the front leg, extend the back leg, get the back heel on the wall, and then we're slowly going to lift that back heel until we're in our level of the T position. Now, if we're collapsed in the waistline, you might think you're like this because you think you got to reach here. That's not the goal. We want to keep the body and the back leg in one straight line. So if this is as far as you can go, this is your T formation basically. If you can go further over till your torso is parallel to the ground, great. Okay, so this is the first part. Our hip is above our ankle. Our torso and our back leg is parallel to the ground. Our arms, the shoulder blades are flush to the wall. Arms are extended, all 10 digits are on the wall. Okay, we're going to work here. If you can, look up at the top hand, even better. And when we finish, we're going to come out of it with integrity just like we got into it. I'll cue you guys as we're doing it, as we get into the pose. Main thing, get into the pose, hold it with integrity, breathe in, come out of the pose. Same way you got into it. Okay, let's go left leg forward. There is some space on that window over there, guys, if you need it. So left leg forward, let's start lifting that back leg. Good, now, hip is above the ankle. Back leg is extending through the heel of your foot. So flex that ankle. There you go, and then we're going to lift the toes of that lifted leg towards the sky. This is going to help open up the hips. But when we do that, we don't want to lose the support leg. So work that support knee towards the wall by weighting the outer edge of your support foot. So the top leg, the knees rolling out towards the wall, bottom leg, knees rolling out towards the wall, and that should open your hips up. We're extending nice straight line through the crown of our head. Shoulders, blades are flat to the wall. Arms are fully extended through the elbows and fingers. And we want to have our support leg not hyperextended, but straight. There you go. And extend that back leg. Extend through the heel of the foot by flexing the foot. So we have a straight line from head through that back leg. Get the shoulder blades flush to the wall. Your head is neutral. Extend through the elbows and fingers. Open up the hands. Try and get all 10 digits flush to the wall. And when we finish up, we breathe in. And then stand up with integrity. Let's switch sides. Go to the second side now. So we're on our right foot, guys. Let's go. Lift that back left leg. Everything's lifting together, as you can see. Some people like to use a yoga block as a support. You can use it or not use it. Either way, whatever suit floats your boat, basically. Main thing is we want a vertical line here. We want a horizontal line if we can get it with our body and our back leg. You're extending through the heel so the back ankle is flexed, and we're going to rotate the toes up towards the sky. The support leg, we're working that knee out towards the wall by weighting the outer edge of our support foot. Back heel is on the wall. Good, the leg is straight, not hyperextended. Lift the back leg, lift it, lift it, lift it. When we finish, breathe in, and then stand up, everything together. Okay, so that's all the poses in a sequence. So right now, I'm gonna set the clock. We're gonna go through these 6 sets, basically. We're gonna go through it 3 rounds, okay? So set yourself up, guys. We're going to go 40-20 for 3 rounds. You have 20 seconds between each pose to get ready for the next pose. Okay. First pose. Front warrior. Left leg is forward. Right leg is back up on the wall. Starting in 3, 2, 1, and begin. Okay, guys, so front heel is pulling. Back knee is driving into the floor. The hips, get them square as you can. And feel that left hip is high. Work it down, push the right hip out. Hips are working forward though, so bring your hips forward, Sophie, about 6 to 8 inches. Look at me. Come straight forward at me. 6, 8 inches. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. That's what I want to see. Good. Now you're pulling with your front heel. Driving the back heel, work the tailbone down. Try not to rotate your torso so much yet. Slowly come out of the pose. Switch sides, right leg forward, left leg is up on the wall. Remember, the ball of your foot or the top of the foot is fine on the wall. Okay? Make sure your hips are square. Extend with that back hip by working your tailbone down so both hamstrings are engaged. Now, can you keep all those actions of your legs? Begin to lift the chest up a little bit. Now, if you're really feeling comfortable and not moving your legs or hips at all, take your hands, interlace them, and take them overhead like Arun's doing here. So we're extending the fingers overhead, working them back towards the wall. If you feel like you might have collapse, then we want to work out of that by dropping the ribs and tailbone down just a bit. Next pose is Sphinx pose. You're on your bellies, legs together, or put a yoga block between your feet. Forearms are parallel, elbows are under your shoulders. Okay, spread the hands. Work the hands to elbows flush into the floor. We extend through the crown of the head, working the tailbone down by lifting the neck and the crown of the head. Lift your torso. Lift. There you go. Lift up through the crown of the head by pulling your elbows back towards your hips. There you go. Pull the shoulder blades back. Good. Working our tailbone down, pull those shoulder blades back by pulling the elbows back towards your hips. Lift the crown of your head a ½ inch higher and relax. Very good, guys. Plow pose is next at your level. So it might be your butt's facing the wall, your heels are on the wall at the beginner level, or you're going feet overhead, basically, into the second and third levels of plow pose. In either case, get the hips as high as you can get them. You gotta work the heels into the wall for the beginning level to work your shins towards the sky. There you're working your hands into your lower back or the top of your buttocks to help assist that hip extension. At the higher levels, we want to lift the hips up as high as we can as we extend the heels into the wall or towards the floor. So continuously try to walk your hands up your back, meaning towards your shoulder blades. Very good, Keith. Drive the heels into the wall. Slowly come out of the pose. Half moon, left leg forward. Got 10 seconds, guys. Okay, right leg is back. Slowly weight the front leg and lift that back leg. Good. Our objective is to get the torso and the lifted leg in a nice straight line. Our support leg is vertical without hyperextending that leg. So weight the outer edge of your support foot and work that knee out towards the wall. Lift your torso just a hair, Sophie. There you go. Now rotate your lifted toes up towards the ceiling. So both knees are rotating out towards the wall. Good, Carly. Get those shoulder blades flush to the wall. Now if your right shoulder, slowly come out of the pose. If your top shoulder, guys, is having a hard time getting on the wall, your bottom hand can work more into the wall to help it. So let's go right leg forward this time. Weight that leg, and then slowly we're going to lift that left leg. Back ankle is flexed, so you're extending through the heel of the foot. Nice straight line from the crown of your head through your back leg. You're working that knee out by weighting the outer edge of your foot. That's good. Lift your back toes towards the sky. Head's neutral. Shoulders are wide. And we're trying to get the shoulder blades flush to the wall. So as I was saying on the other side, if your top shoulder blade's not into the wall, use your bottom arm And it helps to move the top shoulder blade into the wall. But what we're trying to do is open the hips up, get both hips towards the wall or on the wall. Breathe in and slowly come out of the pose. Okay, starting at the beginning again. Front warrior with your back foot up on the wall, left leg forward. 2 more rounds to go. Ready? Begin. Pull with the front heel so that your hamstring kicks in. Very good, Pete. Extend that back knee into the floor so you feel the hamstring in your back leg. Now drive the hips forward. Everybody get the hands together. Pull the arms up as you pull the chest and hips forward. With the arms overhead, close the armpits. Work the arms to straight by working the palms together and flush to each other. Extend those fingers 1 inch higher towards the sky and 1 inch back. Drive the hips forward a little bit more. Breathe in. Slowly come out of the pose and switch sides. Right leg forward, left leg back. Here we go. Pull with that right heel. And begin. We want to really try to get the biceps next to your ears. So if you're looking past your pinkies, basically your neck's probably collapsed. So pull your arms back more, tuck your chin a little bit, but look up, and you should barely be able to see your pinkies. Now from there, can you extend your fingers up towards the sky by driving the down knee into the ground a little bit more? Drive your tailbone down a little bit more and push your hips forward another inch. Then extend through the fingers up and back towards the wall. Breathe in, come out of the pose. Very good. Next pose, Sphinx pose. This time, we're going to add a little bit of lift into the pose. So hands are spread, forearms are parallel. Your toes are pointed and squeezing together. Feet, knees, thighs on the floor. Hands spread. Now from here, you do all the same actions, except now I want you to press your forearms into the ground, your hands a little more, and lift your elbows a ½ inch. Hold that by pulling the shoulder blades back. Keep lifting through the crown of your head. Pull your elbows towards your hips. Your elbows are lifted a ½ inch off the ground. Your chest is pulling in front of your biceps. Very good, guys. Lengthening through the crown of your head. Got about 6 seconds left. Good work, Vilma. Your toes are pointing. And relax. Very good. Cloud pose is next, guys. At your level. So get to the wall or get to that inverted position that you're doing your plow pose at. Remember, reach your hands overhead and they should just barely touch the wall. That's a nice distance marker. Everybody's different, but that generally is a nice way to measure it. Now from here, get those hands to support the back, your lower back area as you push the hands down up your back basically. You're hiking your hips up higher towards the sky. You're extending through the knees, working your heels into the wall. Now think, on my shoulders, can I get them a little further away from my ears to open the chest area up a bit? Good. Now, can you work the feet down the wall a little bit further? Work your elbows up your back a little bit more? Can you work your wrist to the floor? Carly. And relax. Come out of the pose. Very good. Half moon, left leg down. Each time you should see noticeable improvement in these poses. Half moon is next, guys. Right foot is back. Left foot forward. Slowly lift the right leg. Good. Work that left knee towards the wall. Now while you're holding that, you're weighting the outer edge of your support foot without hyperextending this knee. Extend this back leg. Now lift it just an inch or two higher and hold it there. Now keep working that support knee out towards the wall by weighting the outer edge of that foot. Now while you're holding these, can you take your belly button towards the wall a little bit? Can you get your shoulder blades flush to the wall? Keep that back leg lifted. Keep that back leg lifted. Belly button towards the wall. Weight the outer edge of your support foot. Breathe in, come out of the pose. Switch sides, right leg is down. Okay, left leg is back. Ankle is flexed, so you're extending through the heel of your foot. Hip is directly above your ankle. Your leg is straight, not hyperextended. Your back leg is straight, extending through the heel of your foot, rotating the toes up towards the sky. Working your floating ribs towards the wall. Your shoulders are flush to the wall as you extend through your elbows and fingers, all 10 digits on the wall. Then we keep repeating the same mantra. Outer edge of our foot is down, leg is straight, work the knee out. Extending that heel into the floor as we lift, create lift with the leg and the torso. So lift the leg and the torso a half inch more, extending through that back leg, breathe in, come out of the pose. Last round, guys. Front warrior, back foot up. I want everybody to make sure you get those hands together this time. You're going to pull them back towards the wall. Left leg forward, you're pulling with the left heel. Hips are square, so then we pull the hips forward. Both hammies are active. Once the legs are set like that, then the hands are together and extended. Your head is in a position where you're not seeing your whole hand, but if Arun here is to look up, he might barely see his pinkies. That's a good position to not overextend your head and collapse your neck. Extend those fingers a little bit higher towards the ceiling, and then pull them back towards the wall. Now if you feel pressure in your lower back, drop the ribs a little bit. Drop your tailbone a little bit as you drive the knees forward. Breathe in. Slowly come out of the pose and switch sides. Right leg forward, left leg back. And repeat the same mantras. Pull with your front heel. Back knee is driving into the floor. Interlace those hands. Now pull with the front heel, get the hips moving forward. You can barely see your pinkies. Biceps are lined up with your ears. Your arms are straight, your hands are flush. Get the palms flush together. Now as we're extending the hands up a half inch higher, also work them a half inch more back towards the wall. Then constantly go back. Are my hamstrings engaged? Am I pulling with the front heel? Am I extending with the back hip? Am I extending my fingers towards the ceiling and back towards the wall? If you have any pressure in your lower back, drop the ribs a little bit. Work the tailbone down. Breathe in. Come out of the pose. Next pose is Sphinx. On the floor again. On your belly. Forearms parallel. Hands spread. Point your toes. Squeeze your ankles together. Get those shoulders a little bit wider. Take your forearms a little bit wider if you need. Now pull elbows back as you pull the chest in front of the biceps. So from here, our legs are working together. Should I just grab this and pull your hair like that? Here she does. So extend through the crown of your head. Your shoulders are down and pulled back by working the hands and forearms flush to the floor. Now keep that engagement of pulling back and lift the elbows one more time. Get that index knuckle flush. Push that index knuckle down. Pull the chest forward. Good. Work the tailbone down. Squeeze the legs towards one another. And relax. Plow pose is next. At your level. So those of you that are going, your butt's facing the wall and your feet are flush to the wall, move your hips a little closer to the wall this time. Those that are laying on your back and starting with your hands overhead, you're still doing great. Work your feet down the wall a little bit more. So now, see if you can walk your hands up your back more, towards your shoulder blades. Get those feet flush to the wall. Now get those hands under your hips, Michael. Good. Walk the hands towards your shoulder blades a little bit more. We're just trying to increase a little bit each round that we go through. Walk the toes down the wall a little bit by extending your heels into the wall and by lifting your hips. So are your biceps working to help pull in your hips and create lift? Breathe in. Slowly come out of the pose. Last pose is half moon, left leg forward. That requires standing up. Left leg forward. Right leg is lifted. Straight support legs, not hyperextended. It's not bent, it's straight. Weight the outer edge of your support foot so you work the kneecap out towards the wall. Then your lifted leg is straight. Flex the ankle, extend through the heel as we work our toes up towards the sky. From here, then, we're going to work our belly button towards the wall. Our shoulder blades are flush. We're extending through the elbows and fingers. We're opening all 10 digits, getting them flush to the wall. Work the belly button towards the wall. Extend through that heel. Breathe in. And slowly come out of the pose. Very good, guys. Right leg forward. Left leg is lifting. Okay, lift that left leg. Support leg is straight. Good, you're extending the straight leg. There you go. But here we want to make sure the support leg is straight. So straighten this leg out a bit. And that's challenging, right? That's okay. Weight the outer edge of your support foot. For you, Tom, I want you to work to straighten it. Now, can you lift your leg and your torso just under your armpit? Lift those 2 points a little bit. So imagine somebody standing on those 2 points. You got to lift them 1 inch. Just 1 inch. They're standing here and here. You got to create lift on those 2 points. Work that kneecap out towards the wall. Weight the outer edge of your support foot. Straighten that back leg. Lift the torso now. Breathe in and stand up. Good job, guys.